Hey there, Joey here at School of Motion, and welcome to day 23 of 30 days of After Effects. In this video, what we're going to talk about are strategies you can use when you have to design something that's going to go on multiple screens. This is sort of a motion graphics job that's becoming more and more common because every single screen, phone, televisions, computers, digital billboards, all of these things need motion design content created for them. Sometimes there's multiple screens and you need content to go across them or be in sync across multiple screens. There's a lot of situations that you might find yourself in where this type of thing is useful, and it can be tricky if you don't have some good strategies. Don't forget to sign up for a free student account so you can grab the project files from this lesson as well as assets from any other lesson on the site. Let's hop into After Effects and get started.
This is the main building where all of the motion design classes take place at Ringling, and there's been rumors for years of getting some really cool screens to put on the front of the building, and you know, it'd kind of be nice advertisement for the school. It'd also be a really cool venue for student work, but it hasn't happened yet. So I took it upon myself to create this little mock-up. And what I want to walk you guys through is how to set up an After Effects project if you're ever doing something like this, which is becoming more and more common, so that you can animate it very easily, get your deliverables very easily, and be able to show a client what the heck it's going to look like very easily. So let's start by pretending that this is actually just footage of, you know, the building at Ringling, right? These screens are not really there. I tracked them on, but you know, but this is the building, and if these screens were there, you'd be able to go and take footage of them. And the reason you'd want to do that, if, you know, for example, Ringling was your client, they came and they said, hey, we want you to create some content, you know, like a cool 5-second loop or something for the screens. Well, here's how it's going to work. You're going to get something like this from your client. And in general, it looks something like this. And really what it does is it just tells you the specs of each screen. All right, so now if you're looking at this, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 screens, okay? But looking at the specs that we were given, you can see that there's actually only 3 files that you're going to end up delivering, and they all have different resolutions. And the third screen has this extra little wrinkle to it, which is you're going to actually give Ringling basically a 2K almost by 2K file, but only certain portions of the image in that render are going to show up on the screens. And this is actually very common when you have weird shaped screens. If you go to Times Square and you see, you know, there's probably more video screens there than anywhere else in the world, and a lot of them are weird shapes like this. And when you deliver files to play on those screens, you're generally delivering something like a square QuickTime or a rectangular QuickTime, but there's a portion of that image that will play on the screen and the rest will just be ignored. So if you were given something like this, okay, and there's another wrinkle too, which I'll talk about once we get into After Effects a little bit more, but I want you to just keep this in mind. These 2 screens here, these are easy. 1920 by 1080, 1200 by 1080. This is pretty easy, okay? And by the way, this is not drawn to scale. I made all this up, so this isn't totally accurate. But these 2 screens would be really easy to set up in After Effects because they're based on the same resolution, right? 1080. This screen here is based on a different resolution, 2040. And so it's quite possible that the density of the pixels in this area are going to be different than on these 2 screens, which means you're going to have to do some fancy footwork to make sure that you could seamlessly have, you know, a line draw across all 3 of these screens, and still be able to deliver the correct dimensions to your client. So it gets a little bit tricky, and so that's why I wanted to walk you guys through something like this. So how do we start? Well, first thing we need to do is create our deliverable comps. Okay, so I'm gonna copy our shot. I'm gonna make a new, let's make a new comp here, and we'll just do 1920 by 1080, and this is gonna be Ringling shot. Cool. So now we've got our clean plate in there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new pre-comp, and I'm going to make it the dimensions of the first screen. So this will be screen 01 delivery, 1920 by 1080. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to bring in this Photoshop file. Okay, or whatever it is they gave you, an Illustrator file, Photoshop, sometimes it's a PDF, but you want to import it into After Effects. Now, you are assuming whenever you get specs like this that the specs you are given are correct and they're drawn to scale and stuff like that. And so this is a good way to check. All right, so I've got a 1920 by 1080 screen. So what I want to do is take this portion of the design and I'm going to scale it up to fill an actual 1920 by 1080 frame. All right, just like that. And so now this tells me, okay, this actually was accurate. Take a look at that. That's fantastic. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to track. So here's the comp we just made. I want to track this onto this screen and see if it looks right. So I've already gone to the trouble of tracking all of these screens in Mocha. And if you're not familiar with Mocha, if you'd like to learn more, there's a tutorial in the 30 Days of After Effects series that deals with tracking in Mocha. It's an amazing tool. It comes with After Effects. So check it out. And I tracked 3 surfaces, the back, which is this, the side, which is this part here, and the front over here. So let's start with the back, okay? So what I'm gonna do is just click on the back, go down here and say export tracking data, and I want the corner pin data. So I'll copy that to my clipboard, come back in here and hit paste, and there we go. All right, now something's a little bit off, and I think I know what it is. My shot was actually 23.976 frames per second, and when I set up this comp, I actually made it 24 frames a second. So let me delete these keyframes for a minute, and let me change this to 23.976, and then paste the keyframes. Now it should stick perfectly. There we go. That's a little gotcha whenever you're dealing with video. You know, if you shoot with a video camera, like I'm using a Canon T3i, they do not shoot at 24 frames a second. They shoot at 23.976 frames a second, and your tracking will happen at that speed as well. So make sure you have everything synced up. All right, so there you go. So there's screen 1. Now what's cool about this, here is a 1920 by 1080 comp. So whatever I animate in here, I could then just render this comp out, and it's the right size for the delivery specs. But in this comp, I can see a preview of what it looks like on the side of the building. So that's kind of handy. So let's do the same thing with screen 2. So we'll make a new comp. We'll call it screen 02 delivery. And this screen, we know from the specs, is 1200 by 1080. So we'll make it 1200 by 1080, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna copy the screen specs into it, and since I've already scaled it up on screen 1, I'm just gonna copy it out of this comp and paste it, and then I'm just gonna scoot this over like this. There we go. All right, you just kind of want to line it up as best you can. All right, so there's screen 2. So we'll bring screen 2 into this comp, go into Mocha, and I'm gonna grab that layer, export the tracking data, copy to clipboard, go to the first frame and paste it. All right, now here's the thing. When you track something in Mocha, this shot is 1920 by 1080. So all of these surfaces that I'm tracking are also going to come through as 1920 by 1080 surfaces. This is a problem because this layer is not actually 1920 by 1080, it's 1200 by 1080. So the only problem that creates is that the corner pin is correct, it's just in the wrong spot. So you just have to manually move that layer over and put it in the right spot, and now you're good. So that's just something you need to be aware of. All right, so now you've got screen 1 and 2 tracked in there. It looks correct. And what's great is you've already got your deliverables set up for both screens. All right, so now let's move on to screen 3, and this one's going to be a little bit trickier just because this is a weird shape, and we want to make sure that we're previewing it accurately. and that we're able to, we're actually able to manipulate this thing accurately and animate to it. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to take one step back here. Now, one thing that would be an issue, right? If I wanted to animate something that went from this screen seamlessly into this screen, it would be a pain right now because I've got this comp, I can animate something in it, and then when it gets to this side of the screen, I'd have to jump into this comp now and have it come over from the left side of the screen, and that's kind of a pain. So what I actually want to do is create a gigantic comp that I can animate every single thing in, and then I can just place that comp within each of these delivery comps. So here's what I mean. I'm going to make a new comp, and I'm going to call this big animate. All right, and the size of it, I'm going to sort of guess, but you can sort of figure out at least a ballpark of what you need. You got screen 1 is 1920 in width. Screen 2 is 1200 in width, and screen 3 is 2000 in width. So at a minimum, you're going to need like a 5,000 pixel wide comp. So I'm just going to make it 6,000 just to be safe. And then for height, I'm just going to put 4,000. All right, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to drag our screen specs layer into it and scale it up really, really big. Try to maximize our screen real estate here. All right, there we go. Great. Okay, so this is actually going to be the comp we animate in. And you can crop now because, I don't need all this extra space up here and down here. So I'm going to hit this button, right? Region of interest. I'm going to hit that and I'm going to draw a box like this. And then I'm going to go up to composition and crop comp to region of interest. Okay, so now we've ended up with a 6,000 by 2,500 comp. So why did we just do this? Well, now what we can do, let's go back to our screen 1 delivery comp. And instead of using the actual screen specs, let's delete this. Let's grab our big animate comp. Let me stick it in here. Here's our big animate comp. And now we can line up doing the exact same thing we just did. Let me move the anchor point of the layer to here. And then just scale it until it's the right size. And the key is that you want to make sure that you made your big animate comp big enough so that once you drag it into your scene 1 delivery file or your screen 1 delivery file, you don't want to have to scale it past 100% because then you're going to get, it's going to lose quality. So I actually made it bigger than it needed to be and scaled it down, and that's okay. So now you've got screen 1 delivery, and if we go back and we look at our preview here, you can see it looks the same. Okay, and so nothing's changed yet, but we've actually done something really smart. Let's do the same thing with screen 2. So let me copy that big animate comp and paste it in here and scoot this over. Okay. All right, so if we come back here and look, again, nothing's really changed yet, but we're building a system for ourselves that's going to be very, very handy. So let's do the last screen now. So let's make a new comp, and this is going to be screen 3 delivery. And this one is going to be 2040 by 2040. And let's drag our big animate comp into this. And now we need to line up the screen 3. All right, so I'm moving my anchor point to the top left just to make it easy to scale and then match the right size. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we've got screen 3. So let's bring screen 3 in here. And let's go to Mocha and let's grab that layer, export the tracking data, copy to clipboard, and go to the first frame and paste it. All right, now again, because this is not a 1920 by 1080 comp, it's not going to be in the right spot. So we're going to have to drag it down and line it up. Okay, now you'll see that this doesn't line up perfectly. The reason it's not lining up perfectly is because this is a much trickier thing to track. And if you look at the actual, let me turn this off for a minute. Let me turn off this grid for a minute. You can see that where I actually pretended the screen was, there's nothing there really to tell me like what the screen is going to look like and how big it's actually going to be. I sort of just eyeballed it. So what I'm going to need to do is adjust my track a little bit. You can see the bottom right corner here, it doesn't quite line up where it needs to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn the opacity down on this layer a little bit, and you can see that it just doesn't line up very well yet. And so what I want to do is just adjust the corner pin. And I may actually have to adjust the scale too, because again, this is not a 1920 by 1080 layer. And so the corner pin is not actually, it's not working correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is just scale this down a little bit and see if I can get it a little closer before I start messing with the corner pin. All right. And this is, if you look at this edge here, where the yellow part of the design sort of starts to come up, it still looks too big, too tall. So I'm just going to scale it down a little bit more. Okay, and starting to feel a little bit closer. Let me nudge it down just a little bit more. Okay, and now I'm going to adjust the corner pin a little bit. And the way you can do this, there's a bunch of ways. Here's a really easy way. So hit U, bring up all your keyframes, and I'm going to start by adjusting the bottom right. So if I just click on lower right here, it's going to select every single keyframe. With every keyframe selected, if you adjust one of these numbers, it actually adjusts that number on every keyframe. So you can adjust every keyframe sort of equally. Then I can do the upper right and do the same thing. Okay, and you can see already we're getting a lot closer. Okay, and now let me lower this a little bit. Right, and if you look at this, like the upper left, it's a lot of this is just kind of eyeballing. But that looks pretty good. And here's the key. The key is this comp that you're looking at is really only to show your client the context of the animation that you're making and for you to be able to see the context of it. You're not actually going to deliver this. What you're going to deliver is this. So this is really the important thing, okay? And so if you can get it to look right here, and now you can see it's tracking much better, I may still want to adjust this a little bit more. There we go. All right, but as long as you can get it to look right here, then this is going to be okay. And this is the key. This is what you're going to give to your client. Cool. So now we've got this kind of thing. All right, we've basically taken our screen specs document and we've scaled it up to the size of each of these screens delivery formats, and then we've corner pinned it and tracked it onto the building. Now, remember, the way we have this set up is here's your preview comp. Inside the preview comp, you have 3 screen delivery comps, and inside of each of those is this big animate comp where we've sort of cropped into just one of these screens. Here's the cool thing you can do now. Inside of this big animate comp, you can make this a guide layer, and you can turn the opacity down so it's not so distracting, okay? But you just want to see where the screens are. And I'm going to lock that. So now if we go back to our preview comp, you'll see there's nothing on the screens. But what's awesome is now anything I animate in here, right? So if I just draw like a line, right? It goes up like this. If we pop back here, that line is going to now go perfectly across all 3 screens, okay? And if I want to put something in this screen, I can just put whatever I want there. And there it is, okay? This is the power of this, because what you have now is you have this one comp with some guides showing you exactly where the screens are. And it doesn't matter what you do in here, everything's already set up so that when you're done, all you have to do is render out these 3 comps and deliver them. All right, so let's just do something really simple, okay? So let's say that we did, I don't know, if we made a little star here. All right, and that's a very weird looking star. We should probably make that look a little nicer. Let me delete that. There we go. Okay, so here's a star. All right, and all we're gonna do is have it rotate a little bit, and it's gonna move to here, and then it's gonna move up here, and I don't want it to curve like that, so I'm gonna go to my keyframe interpolation and set that to linear. All right, and there you go. So now you've got this gorgeous animation. It really is breathtaking. But what's cool is you can see exactly what it's gonna look like in context. Now, one thing that we do need to do still, you can see that on screen 3, right? On this big section. The screens are not cropped yet, so you're seeing the star outside of the screen. So let's deal with that real quick. Let's go to our screen 3 delivery. Let's go into Big Animate for a second and temporarily make this a normal layer, not a guide layer. So in our screen 3 delivery, what we need to do is we need to mask our comp here. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm just going to call it mask. I'm going to make an adjustment layer just so we can see through it. And then I'm going to very precisely, that was sarcasm. I'm going to make a mask so we can crop out and only keep the part of the image that we want, okay? And then I'll make another mask here. Okay, and you do need to be precise with that. And then I'll just set this to be alpha matted by that. Pop back into Big Animate, set this to be a guide layer again. And so now you can see that the screens are nice and cropped. Okay, and frankly, you guys can stop watching the tutorial now. I mean, that is really that's kind of the whole deal. And what's cool is, screen 1 and screen 2 are seamlessly linked. And if we now look at the screen 1 delivery, you'll see this part of the star. And if you look at screen 2 delivery, you'll see the other part of the star. And because we set it up in this kind of clever way, we now have perfect deliverables and a perfect comp to show our client and let them see what it's going to look like. So I'll talk you through a little bit of what I did here. Really, this preview animation is set up this exact way. If you hop into each of these screens, you'll see here's screen 1, and then here's screen 2, and then here's screen 3. And that's it. Really simple. And if we go into our preview comp, let's see here. Our animate comp, you can see it's the exact same setup you guys have. There's a guide layer down here, and then I've got I made some little kind of Space Invader-y 80s looking stars, and just did what I tried to do was have a combination of elements that some elements are sort of work in sync across all the screens, like the colors change at the same time. But this sort of laser blast, that actually travels seamlessly across all 3 screens. And the stars travel across all 3 screens. So that's what's awesome about having a setup like this is it becomes very easy to mess around with having this screen and this screen be perfectly in sync because you could see both of them while you're animating. But you can also have things that travel seamlessly across all the screens. And then when you're done, you just render out your delivery comps. You got here's screen 1 delivery, here's screen 2 delivery, right here, and here's screen 3 delivery, and that's it. You are good to go. So that's it. This was, I guess, kind of a quick one, but super important when, and I have to say that this type of motion graphics job is becoming a lot more common. It really is because, there's just screens everywhere. Like everything's covered in screens. And, I've done stuff for the Times Square billboards where literally one of the screens was a giant 5-story diagonal screen. But it needed to integrate and be in sync with some other screens that were just sort of rectangular, that were on a different building. And so it's very good to be able to set up a chain of pre-comps that is going to let you animate whatever you want inside of a big pre-comp, transfer that into a delivery comp, which then gets put onto a preview comp. So that is the deal, and that is what I hope you guys take away from this. I hope I hope this was informative. I hope you guys learned something. And thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned some cool stuff. This is really a useful sort of thing to understand. It may not be the sexiest thing, but if you're a working motion designer, then there's a very good chance you're gonna find yourself one day in the situation of having to design for multiple screens. And hopefully you learn some strategies to help you with that. We would love to hear from you if you use this technique on a project, so give us a shout on Twitter at School of Motion and show us your work. And if you learned something valuable from this video, please share it around. It really helps us spread the word about School of Motion, and we truly appreciate it. Don't forget to sign up for a free student account to access project files from this lesson, plus other amazing stuff. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.